have arrived. It's Thursday. It's 2:30. Well, it's 2:35. I'm 5 minutes late. My sincere apologies. I was trying to do something new with technology and it was not working with me. So here I am back on Zoom and live. I am thrilled to be here. We're talking about stress. My name is Tennille Hoogland. And gosh, there's so much going on. As always, when wouldn't there be with me? I've always got something on my sleeve, but get ready. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be announcing we're doing another challenge, which is going to be freaking fantastic. I've done it before and it just keeps on getting better and better and better. I got really stoked about being on Dr. Carla Di Girolamo, just as an FYI for everybody who is interested in these, how do athletes thrive and at midlife and this time of our life. And she is just launched her new course, and just congratulations to her. If you don't know who Dr. Carla Di Girolamo is, I hope you can get to know her. She's absolutely fabulous. And I went on to the webinar to just learn all about it. And of course, it's going to be top notch and beautiful. So congratulations to her. There's a new podcast that we're going to celebrate tomorrow that I want to share with you. So just hold on. It is with two incredibly beautiful women who I can't wait to celebrate tomorrow. Maybe they'll even listen to this live here. And what else do I want to say before we just totally dive in deep? Please say hello if you are coming on and listening. And if you're new, definitely let me know you're here and you are keen to take in and start figuring out, or continue figuring out, how do I do this thing called be athlete at midlife. So let's get into it. So stress. Right? Stress. We talk about it. It's a popular thing to talk about in the media. I think I don't actually do a whole lot of social media, but I think it's quite a popular thing to talk about. And in this part, we want to look at. I always look at it from the pillars of mindset, nutrition, training, and recovery. So that's how we'll go through it. So within mindset, I think the hardest thing for us to really come into is, when we think about motivation, we think of why do I not feel like getting up and go? And it's something that I take for granted in this group, and it may not be you, but this is the athletes that I predominantly have within my sphere that come to me. They come because they have they have a desire and a love for being active. It's already established. They love moving. I love moving. We love moving. Give me a heck yeah if you love moving. And we when we're not in that place, then that's what we're kind of going what is going on? So I never doubt. We always want to come back to who is it? What is our core being? What is the core of who we show up as in the best version of ourselves? And that's where we want to start from. So it's already there. And when we start adding on the stress of all the stressors, then we start to understand, how is it that I can be in this training and feel like I'm doing this balancing act? And the thing that we want to think about is taking on training as it fills our cup. And so when we're approaching training, when we're approaching what we're doing in our life, when we're approaching any sort of stress and saying, I want more stress, I want more strength work, I want more cardiovascular work, I want more whatever, we're trying to come at it from a holistic angle and saying, how is this filling my cup so I can pour it out? Right. And if you feel like it's just not there, it's I get it, I want it, but I just don't have it now. Then we can say, okay, like especially perimenopause and beyond, right? Symptoms happening. Things are not as it seems. My anxiety level is up. Whatever might be happening, say, okay, what might it be? All right, so there's this thing called hormones. It's a physiological state in which my body is trying to learn how to adapt to. What is the very thing that I know may support me in doing this? And it's movement. But what kind of movement? And it's not always going to be every day. And Amanda Thebes says this in a Menopause, we really got to be right where we are and take it for what it is, the day as it comes. If every single day is a low intensity day, well, then we might need some help to shake things up. It might be a matter of actually having to push. We might need a push or a kick in the ass to get us going. So what will that do? But if it's not always like that, then that's perfect. Because when are we always going to be up and asking for, I need this stress, I want this, I want this. So it's just thinking about, how do I move through it? In nutrition is the second one. And it's like, I was writing my notes for this. I was like, you know what? The happy state of nutrition is just actually enjoying the experience of food. Like, we have, and my husband I drive him nuts because I love thinking about things in terms of protein and carbohydrates and fats. And he's like, oh, Tennille, like he cannot get there at all. And I enjoy thinking about it. I actually love it because I just think, oh, it's just like nourishment. Me understanding the composition and that, looking at I was thinking, we were having a conversation with Team Element, and we have created a subgroup of, just looking at and trying to understand body composition. And I was just thinking about the other day, I was like, because, protein is always a big challenge. How do I get the protein in? And I realized as I was shopping that I actually even think, I'm like, okay, is my protein, do I have as much protein in here as I do carbohydrates? Start thinking about that as like, can I get enough protein in my cart to actually equal the number of carbohydrates I have in my cart? What is the volume there? And we'll then start to understand how it is that we can get more protein, because then you go like, you're on a hunt. You're just like, oh, okay, this is what I realized. I'm like, okay, so if I haven't stacked up all those things, then it's going to be, anyways, I digress. That's not about stress. It was just something that I come into. So, but when we're not enjoying food and we're trying to always like figure it out, or we're, actually hurting from it, from, discomfort, or we're fearful of eating because we're not sure it's going to sit well before our training session, or we're frustrated because we've gained weight and it's just like, oh man, is this going to pack it on too? What is state, right? How hard is that? That's really tough. And that's what we really want to acknowledge. Go right there, go right into it and go, okay, this is my worry around this. This is my feeling around this. What can I do? How can I find support in this? How do I move from discomfort and to fear? How do I move from fear? And is this my normal? Am I going to accept this fear? Am I going to accept this discomfort? Do I have to always eliminate this thing in my diet? Or is it that I can heal my gut from a stress that exists? Because that's what I want for you, is optimal health. I'm in the optimization business. I don't move from disease. I don't support, or I don't have the expertise to come in and work. There's amazing people working with cancer patients or cardiovascular disease, or having, people that specialize in working with osteoporosis. I was just talking to another incredible human, and Christina Barsetti, who does Pilates, and she is really has an amazing work that she's doing with women in midlife specifically that have osteoporosis and osteopenia. These people are there. It's what they do. It's what they love. And so I get to optimize. I get to say, okay, how do we live our very best life? We're living a good one, but we want more. We want to go after the goals that we want. We want to feel in a certain way. And so my point here is that the first step is to acknowledge the stress that we may have and in the experiencing of what our association is with food, and how do we move from that? And what is it? Is it physiological? How can we heal? Is it time? Is it space? Is it nutrients? Is it probiotics? Is it prebiotics? Is it more fiber? Is it actually, progressing into fiber? Don't just go crazy with fiber, because fiber progression on everything is the key. Training stress. So I can talk a lot about this, and there's so many different ways. And next week, we're going to talk about strength. So I'm going to save some work in that area. But one thing I want to say is understand your intensity. And will this understand the intensity? And if you aren't able to be present and intentional about the intensity, the stress you're putting on, if it's hard to understand what your perceived effort is. So we talk a lot about perceived effort is the most valuable, I would say, actually the most valuable. And I love power. I love looking at pace. I love all the geeky stuff. I love all that I have inside. I go in right down into like the full detail, but perceived effort is the key, because it's going to give you the progression that you need. So this is what I want to emphasize today. If you're going to be told, all right, we need to stress the system, we need to do a high intensity interval training. That's an all out, right? Really hard. Or it could be a sprint interval training, less than 30 seconds, huge rest, let's go. And what I want to say here is the perceived effort, what you deliver is always going to continue to improve. Some of it is pain tolerance. So we get better at experiencing the discomfort of being uncomfortable. We get really good at it. And so you can keep on notching it up. But as you continue in to your progression of getting really good and fit and strong, right? It takes real intention to show up fully, because now your top end is getting squishier. Like it used to be that you could get there. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like that, the stimulus is like being shocked right away. And then all of a sudden, it's like getting tapped on the arm. You're still, getting tapped at the same frequency and the same pressure, but you start not noticing it as much, right? You need more to really get going. So this is the kind of idea, is like, we will keep coming into the stress that's appropriate for us. Keep going with your perceived exertion on all of this piece. So, that will allow us now, when you can't get there, when you're just like, don't have the energy to get up into your intensity, if it's not going to give you energy, it's not your day. How do you know whether it's not your day or not? Well, start. That's the first thing. Give it a go. And if you're like just not there, can't mentally, you can't will yourself. You're fatigued. Your brain is fatigued. You're better off to go into the trees and enjoy a nice walk, because then we're just going mediocre again, and we're not actually stressing the system. We're not adding the right stress. We're just working hard. We're just plowing through, if that makes any sense. So look where we can be present, look where we can be intentional, look where we can really push, and trust ourselves that when we say, I want to go for an all out high intensity interval training, that we're going to get there, and that you go and that you give it your best. And that's what it is. Recovery is the last pillar. and where we'll finish up today. So recovery is, the place where it all comes up. It's where the learning happens. And it's when we can get into the quiet and still our bodies and still our breath that we move through this stress cycle. We nourish our body and we adapt and we get stronger both emotionally and physically for it. And man, is it hard. It's hard to go there because somebody said in the comments, it's kind of like the more I do, the more I can do. Totally, I get that. I really get that. It's called rhythm. It's like I'm in the rhythm. And one of the interesting things is that it also can be part of what happened to me over Christmas is I was ready to keep going. I wanted to have fun. Like I had just come off of, a really big year, tons of growth and challenge and award. I was awarded, this beautiful triathlon coach of the year. Everything was amazing. And then I was like ready to roll into a beautiful ski vacation, all my family coming together, big noise, big fun, big everything. That's how we do things. And whole family got sick, couldn't go anywhere, 2 weeks in my home. And I'm like, I work in my house. So it's like, I needed to get out of my house, but there was nowhere going. I was not going anywhere. Best thing that ever happened. Hardest thing to do. Slow down, get kicked on your butt. You can't go anywhere. Boy, it gave me the space to grow. It gave me the space to come back with energy and a new way of doing my work, a new way of being present, a new way. And so the rhythm is phenomenal, but we also want to come out of it, shake it up, add a stress, take on with, we call it radical gratitude. Take on whatever's showing up with ourselves that get us out of the rhythm that really just seems to annoy us so that we can fully, become another better version of ourselves. Today is a different day than yesterday, and I'm never going to be the same person tomorrow. I'm always, who I show up today is going to be a different person tomorrow. And that's the beauty of what we all have in possibility. So that's all I have to say about stress this week. I hope that is helpful to a couple of things that just kind of you can grasp onto, take with you, nourish your body, different perspective. That's all I've got to say. Have an amazing day, everybody. Take care.